Radio.
Warning.
You are now tuned in to 7 Mile Radio. 7 Mile Radio.
Moment, man. What's up, man? Mark from 7 Mile.
What's the word, bro?
Mezzo will be back next week. So, just Judo woke Ace, man. Man, we got a lot of shit to go on and break down, man. It's a new week.
Uh-oh.
And the Taliban is still here.
Oh, shit. Man, where did you think they was going, man? What did you think was going to happen?
3 weeks we said the Taliban is back.
The Taliban.
You ain't heard them in a minute.
Man, is this Joe Biden's fault, man, that we back here in this predicament?
I think he's like the fall guy. And like right now they on the news. I don't know what it is about 2021. We grew up in my life watching the Taliban, man, bring down towers with the Al Qaeda and everything. Now they on CNN saying, is the Taliban our friends or is they their enemies? They sitting there hanging.
They're questioning if the Taliban is good guys or bad guys now.
Man, we know they're the enemies, man. Come on, man. They riding around with a brand new Apache, hanging Americans or the foes from the Apaches as they ride the Apaches in the air. They're around with our artillery. Later on, we'll show you how they got the artillery brand new, fresh out the crates. But let's break this with this breaking news. Breaking news on Truth Talk Nation Hidden Hand. 2 FDA officials stepped down due to they beefing over the booster shots. They don't want to give the people the booster shots. Biden wanted to give the people the booster shots before they even approved. So what is this is about with the 2 FDA officials that's stepping down? To me, it seemed like the cookie is crumbling.
They know something.
And the people finally got their balls and said, man, we not giving these boosters to the kids, man. We gave it to the elders. We let y'all get away with this. And it's the same people. Come on now, people. That let fentanyl go through. All these opioids, Oxycontin, Vicodin, Crestor, and all that other bullshit they had pushing. This is the same people, but now they like, hold up, man. You got these booster shots because the booster is the one. Allegedly. Let's say allegedly. The booster is the one. So we got the pick. You put the pick with the 2 FDA officials resign over the booster shots. We also got the EU Health pick that's equivalent to the CDC saying they ain't fucking with the boosters. Our people don't even need the boosters.
So who are the EU for the people that don't know?
The EU Health.
Equivalent to the CDC, but where? I mean, because
they CDC over in Europe.
CDC is worldwide. So
no. CDC is out of Atlanta. They mainly push America shit, but they give advice to other health organizations.
Okay.
Which is also the WHO sees over the world organizations. The WHO is the World Health Organization. And so they over CDC, that's who Fauci or the WHI, the World International Health or some shit that shit stand for, the WHI. Them is the two that's over the world. And so
it's crazy that they had that acronym WHO, right? Because you know how a lot of conspiracy theorists, when they speak on whoever they're speaking on in regards to the conspiracy, it's always said they doing this or they, and everybody say, well, who are they?
But also,
and now we actually have a WHO.
Right, yeah, but the WHO comes out of the comic books too. It's similar to like an organization, but not something like a health organization.
Wasn't it a Mr. Who?
Yeah, the WHO they did like detective stuff. It was a
but it was a actual, I don't know, was it Marvel or DC?
Yeah, that's it. That's the comic. Yeah, that's the they had a TV series called Who was quite successful. But yeah, they could have branded themselves off of that because a lot of the shit that you see today is branded out of comics. You won't even know it, or it's put into comics and put into movies and you wouldn't even know it. You just gotta look and see it. Like I Am Legend, like how we broke down the I Am Legend, how we broke down other movies. But anyway, Let's break out. Also, we got to pick that Japan halts the jab of Moderna. 1.6 million vials was turned away from Moderna due to contamination. Not only the first shipment, the second shipment was also halted. They like, man, what's up? We got we detected metal allegedly. Well, this ain't allegedly because this shit come from the war and Forbes. It's not allegedly. This shit real. Japan said, look, we can't take the Moderna right now. We got spoons and shit sticking to vials or whatever. Metal sticking to vials. We detecting metals inside the vials. Man, Mark.
Man, I mean, oh, we talking about Moderna now. I was about to say Johnson & Johnson.
Oh, yeah, we ain't even there yet.
Later, right? Because we know that a lot of these, well, this company in particular, Johnson & Johnson has been known to put out faulty products and contaminated products and end up harming people. But now we got Moderna.
This is the newest of the vaccine company. They've been putting out some vaccine
that is now being flagged. But was it Pfizer or was it any of which one specifically did it have the adverse effects of blood clots? Everybody was catching blood clots.
Johnson & Johnson.
Okay,
also,
Johnson there.
Also, they said Pfizer and the other ones. If you take the D-dimer test, and that's the people who took the jab. You know what I'm saying? You can see if you're clotting. And that's a test you can ask your doctor for. It's called the D-dimer. Some shit like that. And they know what you're talking about. I'm going to take that breaks it down in microscopic and view inside your body to detect clotting. Now, they got clotting tests too, but this one is the microscopic test. It's called the D-dimer. So you can do that to see if you're clotting. And when you took the jab, you know what I'm saying, and see. Because you got people allegedly that's getting clots in their eyes. They're getting clots in their mouth. I could have came with some videos, but But anyway.
Blood clots in their mouth.
Real shit, man. Real shit. Maybe we come with that next week, man, Mark. See the clotages in the mouth. This one nurse who's sitting there filming herself, she got it all in her mouth. Clots. Allegedly, after taking a jab. But we're going to get off into Pfizer, which has also got approved for the jab. But 2 FDA officials stepped down over the boosters. But Pfizer is seen to be shaking down countries. Shaking down countries? How, Judah? Shaking down countries. If I'm going to bring my jab in, then you got to give up something because you need it. A country like Argentina or a country like St. Croix. Small countries like the Philippines that's struggling from all the whatever. But I'm Pfizer, so when I come through, man, Mark, I'm bringing you the jab, but I need some type of collateral. It's getting to that point. And they're not just getting collateral, they're getting sovereign. Listen to the words on this video we about to play. Sovereign collateral.
Now, which video was this, Judah? This the one with the news down in front, or the lady?
The lady, yeah.
Okay, here we go.
And so, sovereign collateral.
15 people are now charged with buying and selling forged cards. And prosecutors in Manhattan say if you were willing to pay extra, the suspects could.
All right, allegedly we got these videos mixed up. Judah told me the wrong damn video. We don't know what the hell we playing over here. So now, which one we saying now? Video?
Well, with the Indian jab. Remember the Indian one we with the Pfizer shaking down? Say Pfizer or something.
Yeah, that's the one up, man. See, you getting mixed up. All right, man. We about to play the video, y'all. We about to play the video.
Pakistan, terrorism comes to mind. Terror comes in many forms, they say. Sometimes it's from the neighborhood. Sometimes it's online. Sometimes it's from those you entrust with saving lives. Vaccine makers, for example. While countries like India are sending free vaccines to poorer nations, there are companies like Pfizer which are bullying governments. It's a story in contrast, and what a stark contrast this is. The US-based company Pfizer is holding governments to ransom, interfering with their legislation, even demanding military bases as guarantee. Would you believe it? A vaccine maker asking for a country's military base in return for vaccines. On Gravitas tonight, we'll bring you 2 horror stories from Latin America and the bizarre demands that Pfizer is making. Let's start by looking at Pfizer's business in the region. it has vaccine deals with 9 Latin American countries: Chile, Colombia, Costa Rica, Dominican Republic, Ecuador, Mexico, Panama, Peru, and Uruguay. 2 major Latin American nations are missing from this list: Argentina and Brazil. Neither has a deal with Pfizer, but both have a story to tell. Let's start with Argentina. Talks between Argentina and Pfizer began in June 2020. In July, President Alberto Fernandez held a meeting with Pfizer's CEO in Argentina. Guess what followed? Pfizer asked to be compensated for the cost of any future lawsuits. What does that mean? Say someone files a civil lawsuit against Pfizer in Argentina, and if that person wins the case, who pays the compensation? It won't be Pfizer. It would be the government of Argentina. Now, Argentina had never done this before, but it made an exception. It needed life-saving vaccines, and desperate times call for desperate measures. So Argentina's parliament passed a new law in October 2020. But Pfizer was unhappy with its phrasing. The law said Pfizer needs to at least pay for negligence, for its own mistakes, if it happens to make any in future. Pfizer rejected this. It won't pay for its mistakes. Argentina then offered to amend the law to define negligence more clearly, to include only vaccine distribution and delivery under negligence. Pfizer was still not happy. It demanded the law be amended through a new decree. That's when Argentina put its foot down. They refused. Pfizer then asked Argentina to buy an international insurance. What for? To pay for potential future cases against the company. Argentina agreed. In December 2020, Pfizer came back with more demands. It wanted sovereign assets as collateral. What does that mean? Pfizer wanted Argentina to put, and listen to this, put its bank reserves, its military bases, and its embassy buildings at stake as collateral. Pfizer wanted Argentina to put its sovereignty at stake for what? Just to secure vaccines. There is no doubt that Pfizer is sitting on a pile of life-saving drugs. But what gives it the right to bully a government? Profiteering from your plight and mine. You see, vaccine manufacturers have always enjoyed a certain amount of liability waiver. Say you receive a vaccine from Pfizer, you have adverse effects because of the jab. You can always go ahead and file a lawsuit against the company. And if you win that lawsuit, instead of Pfizer, it will be the government that will be compensating you. And this is a normal practice. In the United States, for example, the PrEP Act, that's the Public Readiness and Emergency Preparedness Act, gives total immunity to companies like Pfizer and Moderna. But this is only if something goes wrong unintentionally. This does not apply to negligence.
So it's basically just like a whole nother set of rules for COVID outside of America.
Well, it's a money grab, and it's a land grab, and it's a sovereign grab. Because allegedly, if I can do this and create whatever and make the public scared, then and I'm in on it, because Pfizer is the top dog out of Moderna, out of everybody. Merck pulled out. We reported on that. Merck pulled out. They said, look, we ain't into this. They did like what the 2 top FDA officials did. They said, man, we out. But Pfizer stuck in because they're the top dog. And we reported last week that over a third of Pfizer, approved drugs is recalled. Over 8,000 drugs. And so, if I can scare the people into submission, they're going to give up whatever. They're going to give up military bases. They're going to give up reserves, the countries. And I'm going to offer them not only money, I'm going to offer them the vials. This is allegedly. It can't be allegedly because this is Indian or Pakistani news, because we taking it to international.
I know you like to say that to put a disclaimer on the things that we say here on the show, because you don't want to, be flagged by the fact checkers.
But the fact checkers on the news. That's some weird shit. Look at the times we can't even go to foreign news and without being fact checked. Like, no, that ain't real. Because and then we are in the United States, like, oh yeah, it can't be real. You know what I'm saying? Well, what type of credit do the news have? Man, how many people is in India? Way more people than what? The United States. I think they 1.5 billion. So they probably got all kind of news sources. Come on, people.
I mean, especially now we in the age of information and the internet. So when we talk about news sources, imagine how many independent, under the radar news sources that we have in Europe, right? Because I remember when I used to live in Germany as a kid. I mean, the world news over there, it was like
different.
it was a different type of a
when I was in Spain, they showed you the real way how the United States was striking. They showed you the opposite news
point of view
from their end. And versus the United States, you know what I'm saying? So I got to see they type of news. Like, well, damn, it's fucked up. You know what I'm saying? And
that's part of the reason why I feel like I believe I can see the entertainment side of what the news is over here right now.
Right.
You know what I mean, because not only between experiencing the news and seeing it in a different country, but being a media student. You know what I mean, and seeing and knowing how and what types of information they put forth to the forefront of the broadcast to pique the viewer's interest just for the sake of ratings. It's almost like a game here. News is like a game.
Well, here we we accept the television rules. You know what I'm saying? And reality TV rules. And so outside reality TV is consciousness. It's people that's woke or awoke. You know what I'm saying? That's been woke. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird right now because some people getting the information, the other people getting this information, other people getting this information, but it's crazy, man. So let's break it down.
Shout out to everybody tuned in on YouTube and Facebook right now.
Shout out.
Y'all put in the comments what city and state y'all tuned in from, if you will, so we can give everybody a shout out right quick, man. Shout out to Frederick Williams on YouTube. And everybody else tuned in, who that CMW662, what's going on, and everybody else tuned in on Facebook. Shout out to everybody. What's happening,
man? So now with all this going on, man, it's a big market in the United States and other countries alone for fake COVID passes and cards and hookups within the network.
We talked about this last summer,
right? That was gonna come out.
When the vaccine started hitting and they started restricting people on being able to go here, travel, and work, then now we're gonna have to do his own Mac and Bewick,
right? With the fake and you're gonna have to, you know what I'm saying, hook up with some of the nurses and doctors. You're gonna have to come out some cash, just like Songbird or what is it? The Songbird, the movie with Demi Moore, where they talk about when she was selling the fake wristbands, the COVID wristbands.
Mm-hmm.
And so
people
now
online making whole websites about the shit. You know what I mean? For selling it on the so-called black market, but is it black market anymore? It's just like out there.
No, it's just out there. This lady right here, she called herself anti-vax bunny or something, baby, mama or something. Sells fake vaccine cards. Been selling it for months on Instagram under their nose. And she also had to hook up with a health department that was getting you in the system for extra money. This is real shit. So while people out here struggling to go get the jab for their jobs, you got all kind of schemes and scams going on, man. Mark, what do you think about that shit, Joe?
Man, we seen it coming. What do you mean when we think about it? We seen it coming before.
Right.
We probably I ain't gonna say we put the idea out there, God forbid, but it's like we seen that coming because we know how this world operates. We've seen this coming with the vaccine, all of the stipulations that were going to come, the restrictions that were coming, and we knew that people were going to be bootlegging these passes because everybody wasn't going to be able to or want to take the vaccine.
And the people that's nurses and doctors, they getting extra money. You don't got to take the jab. How they looking at it on some of them? Just give me the money. It's all about the money, people. Just look at what we going through. Here, these people out here, they just got busted. But shit, you got tons and tons of other motherfuckers around here with the shit. That they got hookups or whatever. And so this is not a thing in the United States. This is a world thing to where people gotta maintain and gotta live. They like, man, shit, I gotta work. Man, Mark. So we got this video with what? Anti-vax mama?
Anti-vax mama.
From New Jersey. Got the fake vaccine hookup. I can't really say it's fake. Shit, she got the real shit because she had all the hookup. Let's roll this video.
Nursing homes, all looking for a way to cut corners during COVID. Officials say this group paid Clifford $200 per bogus card.
And by the way, when there's a fake vaccination card that means someone has committed a very serious crime. Literally, that could lead to prison time for anyone.
Clifford didn't stop there, pay an additional $250, and the 31-year-old from New Jersey would then allegedly reach out to her co-conspirator who worked here at North Ocean Medical Group in Patchogue, Long Island. Nadesia Barkley had direct access to New York State's official vaccine database, which is linked to the Excelsior Pass, a digital certificate of vaccination. Authorities say at least 10 times Barkley entered buyers' information into that database. Now, all involved, Clifford, Barkley, and all the buyers are charged in a scheme officials say dates back to May of this year.
This is something we've never seen before. We've seen it in the dark web, but we've never seen it just broadly offered to the general public like it is right now.
Demand for these fake cards is soaring as more require proof of vaccination. But buyer beware, handing over your personal information leads you wide open to possible identity theft.
With COVID on the rise and the vaccine readily available, more and more businesses are requiring their employees be vaccinated, and to prove that, they need a vaccination card. Now, this is a problem for people who don't want to be vaccinated, and there's some people out there who are turning this into a business opportunity. Meet 5-star Jazzy. She has over 300,000 followers on Instagram and quite a few hustles. You'll notice in her description, founder of Anti-Vax Mama 2. Yeah, that's because Anti-Vax Mama, her original account, got deleted, and I suspect it's because she posted stuff like this. Advertising that she's selling fake COVID-19 vaccine cards for $200 a pop, but they'll have real lot numbers on them. Now she's continuing this from her new account and even from her main account. She posted this the other day explaining that she has a backlog of messages and also that she's looking to expand her team. So if you have computer access at hospitals or CVS, DM me ASAP. Now that led me to believe that she's either stealing existing lot numbers and putting them on the cards, or she's getting someone to enter people into the system that haven't been vaccinated to generate their own lot numbers. But I didn't want to make assumptions, so I decided to message her and ask. I told her I work at a Walgreens. She said to text her ASAP. She asked if I had access to enter the vaccine information into the system, and then asked because I'm in Florida, how do people verify here that they're in the system, because in New York they have an app. And the person she has in New York doing this can provide the numbers that the people can check in the app. I explained in Florida we have a site you can do that on and asked what exactly she needed. She told me she provides the person's name, date of birth, address, the vaccination date, asked if I can backdate them, and then has me enter them into the system to generate lot numbers. So I would enter them in the system as if they had just received the vaccine, which they have not. But the system would believe that they have. And if someone checked those lot numbers, it would say their name.
Man. And so it's all type of hookups out here, yo. It's all type of shit going on. And so what the fuck times are we really living in, man, Mark? To where people gotta have hookups just to go out there and work. And I wish I would have had the one pick. But we got Michigan, Allegan County or whatever. It's one of the first counties in the Midwest to try to order. If you got the COVID and you go home to your kids and infect them, they can possibly take your kids. This is in Allegan County, A-L-L-E, Allegan County, Michigan. Look that shit up. And so this is some real shit, man. We living in some real times. We got people faking cards or getting the hookups. We got Pfizer shaking down countries. The fuck is really going on? You know what I'm saying? We got Japan. They halting Moderna shots. Talking about it's contaminated. We don't want this in Japan. And here every other commercial that when we look on YouTube or when we watch TV, they talking about the jab. Man, Judah, where you going, man? Yeah, where I'm going. This shit getting crazy, man. We got Johnson. We got a video with Johnson & Johnson. Got a new vaccine, the HIV vaccine. And they go and try it out where else, man, Mark? Where else you think they're going to try this new vaccine out? HIV vaccine.
In the hood.
In the hood. So the hood in the world is where? Africa. We're going to go try our shit. Why is Africa always a trial country? We're going to try out the new polio. We're going to try out the Zika. We're going to go out and try out the Ebola. We're going to try. All this is in Africa, people. We're going to try it out on them because they the real test puppets of the world, I guess. Them in Latin America. in Eastern Europe. Them the test dummies where they test all these vaccines and all these medical, I'm gonna say these little medical experiments. But let's roll this video right quick. Johnson & Johnson's only a minute or something. We'll be right back. Got a new vaccine for HIV, and it fails.
Well. They showed that it was about 25% effective in preventing HIV infection in the study in Africa. They didn't see any safety issues, and they are going to continue testing this in a different trial in different folks in different geographic areas, so they do still have some hope this might work. But this is just another disappointment in a long line of disappointments for trying to develop vaccines for HIV, which has just been incredibly difficult. This vaccine used that same viral vector as it uses for COVID, but the antigen it delivered to try to recognize the enemy, essentially, in the HIV was much more complex because this virus has just been so difficult for vaccines to try to tackle. A lot of folks sort of noting this morning, guys, how lucky we got with COVID that we could figure out vaccines for it. Because it was a virus that was easier to tackle with vaccines.
So now it's basically like, you know what? We didn't get the HIV vaccine. Everybody was telling us, you know what? They came out with the COVID vaccine a little bit too quick, and they had the HIV for years, and they ain't got no vaccine. So they're like, you know what? Let's double back and go ahead and get that out the way. Let's concoct the HIV vaccine.
And we allegedly reported last year that the COVID vaccine or the COVID jab has the in it, allegedly. And so now, as I guess, as they getting the jab that's going on in the United States and some of these Latin countries in Europe and Australia and some of these Asian countries, well, let's go ahead and roll out the HIV vaccine. Right. And where are we going to roll it out at? In Africa. I guess they fucking too much. Let's roll it out there. And it's not working. So what happened, though, if it's not working and you enroll into this trial, Mark? Is it low sperm count? They don't never tell you the outcome or how this can affect you. They just say it wasn't effective. You know.
And then a warning about the polio outbreak.
Right. And so we got the new pick. U.S. warns of a polio outbreak. Because how they going to cover some of this shit up? Some of these people dying from, we're going to create more fucking viruses. Because
that's not the COVID vaccine that they're dying from.
I told you how they can hit you. Unrestricted warfare. Don't expect war to be fought with guns and bombs no more. Expected to be fought with chemical warfare. Medical warfare. Get this book, people. It's telling you. And other books is telling you. It's not just this book, but this right here breaks it down. And it's not just going to be chemical warfare. It's going to be weatherization or weatherized cyber attacks. HARP. But that's all allegedly, man. St. Judah, don't get all into this. CERN, we got CERN. Let's have earthquakes, mudslides. We're gonna do all this. It seems to me
this is too sci-fi.
We've been getting hit in a lot of these East Coast with the floods. So I don't gotta go sci-fi. I can go biblical with the floods, with the locusts. With the people that's in right now in the shock and awe, or the scared people. So, what's new? Let's get into this story. San Francisco is trying to curb violence, man. Mark, well, how you think they're gonna curb violence on gun shooting?
When you asked me the question, the first thing that I said was, they got to they got to put some money out here for people to get.
Right.
And I didn't mean in the literal sense, like give them money, just like what we end up saying, but like put jobs out here, need more opportunity and things for people to do, because that's where a lot of the gun violence.
No, you can get too much money and stack it up. What if we just give you a base pay to stop killing?
Just straight pay you.
Yeah.
Like $300 a month.
Yep, $3, $4, $5 a month, and then y'all don't shoot no more. I mean, you agree.
So what's still stopping you? Because
I don't know.
Because a criminal, right, breaks the law.
Right.
So what's stopping a criminal from breaking the law? Right? If killing is a crime, what's stopping me from not still doing it just because you paid me to not do it?
A check, I guess.
But I'm a criminal.
Right. I need more than this.
And my thing is to go against that. Like, it's nothing. I mean, it's like putting restriction on guns. Like making all guns illegal. Like, that's gonna make people stop using guns. Like, it's already illegal to kill in the first place.
Right.
So making guns illegal.
This is what San Francisco is doing, because we also reported. Remember, they want to use the marijuana money in Detroit to pay for reparations. You know what I'm saying? They putting this on. I mean, we reported in Detroit. They want to use the marijuana for money in Detroit for reparations, because they saying, why can't we get that? We're old in Detroit. But then you got some people arguing, saying, well, when has Detroit ever had slaves? But who moved up north? So now you're responsible for that bag. However it worked, I don't know. I don't know how this shit working. This shit is getting wild, man. So while we talking about Detroit, we got a lot of wild driving that's been going on in Detroit, man, this summer, man. This year,
man.
With the challenges, the charges, the Hellcats.
You know what? It happened. It was before just last year. I remember. I can recall before COVID hit. There were cars. I remember a viral video that happened right here on the east side near like 7 Mile and Mile.
Do you blame right now? Right now, we in the big three. We in the city of the big three. Do you blame the big three, or I'm gonna say GM alone, for pushing muscle cars to the African American community and giving them the cars for cheap, as far as financing or whatever, for them to rip and run around the city as experiments for the rest of the world? Because you know you can't do this in Indiana. You know you can't do this in certain parts of Pennsylvania or whatever.
Shit, and even the suburban cities in Michigan.
With your Challenger, your Charger, your Hellcat. So is it an experiment among us as let them rip and run to see what's the durability of this car? Because look, before you even say something, Mark, they got a new movie with Don Cheadle, to where the big three suppressed the technology of the Cadillac converter, and knowingly that they was putting out pollution to the air in certain neighborhoods in the black community. It's a new movie out that's right now on Netflix with Don Cheadle, to where he was going against. They stole the paperwork to this and sit there and con the Jews and the Italians with the paperwork to pay them, the black community, because he's like, look, you putting out all these automotives. They putting out pollution. Do you know they got something that makes the pollution to where it's clean? It's called a Cadillac converter, but they didn't want to use it. But in 1975, they were sued. Look up the new movie that's based in Detroit, man, Mark. I forget the name of the movie. I just watched it last week, but it was cool with Don Cheadle. But look, they got the technology for this shit. You know what I'm saying, man, Mark? But where we at? Let's get into the wild driving video, to where one of our top comedians was hit fucking around with the wild driving in Detroit, man. Let's see who got hit, man.
It knocked all of the pumps at this gas station offline. A man's attempt at drifting at a Detroit gas station ends exactly as you would expect. Oh! This happened at the BP gas station on Joy Road in Southfield Sunday night.
I seen him doing donuts. He was doing donuts, trying to, he lost control, and then he hit the pump.
Amazingly, no one was hurt. Detroiters who have nearly seen it all, stunned anew. He's been on the FM 98 radio show, The Morning Show with Coco. He wants Detroiters to sound off, to speak up about the reckless driving happening here in the city, something he experienced at this intersection firsthand.
I'm lucky, I'm blessed, but friends of mine have lost daughters, sons, all because of people driving crazy out here. And they're not driving crazy across 8 Mile. They're driving crazy in the hood.
It was straight talk from comedian, actor, and longtime Detroit radio show host Robert Spearman, better known as Foolish, who was seriously injured in a car crash on Detroit's west side last Wednesday. He says he was driving up Granville near Joy Road on his way to perform at a comedy show when he was struck by another driver.
A guy blows the yield sign doing 60 or more and hits my Charger, spins me around, leaves me for dead.
Spearman says he tried to trail the driver to get his plate number as that driver raced towards M39 and then sped down the Southfield Freeway. But Spearman's heavily damaged vehicle could not keep up.
So when I pulled over, my whole right side was paralyzed. I couldn't even do nothing.
Spearman says state troopers found him on the shoulder of the freeway and got him an ambulance, which rushed him to the hospital.
So I had a spinal cord operation, which released a lot of the tension that was going on the right side of my body to where I could walk again.
Detroit police and state troopers have been trying to get a handle on the reckless driving situation in Detroit neighborhoods and freeways. Spearman says the crash forced him to cancel shows as he works to get on the road to recovery. While his many fans in Detroit and across the country have offered their prayers and words of encouragement, he's pleading with them to speak up more about the reckless driving problem in the city.
Man, my man Foolish. One of the great comedians of Detroit, yo. Find himself caught up in the wildness, the wild driving of Detroit, man. This summer's been crazy, man. I've witnessed since last year, like you said, since last year and before, wild driving, people running into buildings, losing control of these Hellcats and these Chargers, these Challengers, these souped up Jeeps. You know what I'm saying? These V8s or these V12s or whatever. These 16s, man, dog. It's crazy, man. Mark, what you think, yo?
Yeah, it's definitely been an issue, a problem around the city for a while now, man, with the reckless driving and especially in the residential areas. I mean, as
right.
In the area where Foolish was hit, the guy was coming off of a residential street and blew a stop sign and smacked him as he was coming up the main street. You know what I mean? So, the speed bumps, do they
got the
help?
most in the United States?
Do they help or do they hurt? Or do they do anything? I mean, do they help or not? I would say because I don't know what they can hurt. I mean, I've seen maybe one or two. One that I can think of specifically where a car hit one of the speed bumps and drifted off the road into a house
because you can't see them. Should these speed bumps have reflectors on them at night? Because what if you don't know, and you're not really speeding, but you just riding down the street, you don't see the speed bump, boom, boom, boom. You see white, but you're like, well, damn, it's because you're dealing with all kind of potholes, all kind of shit in Detroit. Should these speed bumps have reflectors on them? Let people know that you're coming up to this in the middle of the street. It's sad. But right now, Detroit is in a traffic experiment to me with all these speed bumps. We got the most speed bumps.
Well, not only the speed bumps, but I mean, you seen when the gentrification first started,
right.
And then they started with the bike lanes and all of the
well,
poles.
I'm not going to say the bike lanes because bike lanes
that was
is
definitely a part of the traffic experiment, man.
It is, but not the traffic because in some of these big cities they've been had the bike lanes. Even overseas and all that, they had the bike lanes.
Okay, and even though they have speed bumps in other places too, maybe not as many.
Not as many.
Okay, as Detroit, right? But then, in Detroit or versus those other cities that you speak of, they actually ride bikes through those areas. I mean, so they have a reason to. Now, maybe one would argue that that's the reason why we don't ride bikes in Detroit is because we didn't have the lanes.
No, we ride bikes in Detroit.
We do, but it was in certain areas. Like it was certain areas. Now we're not talking about motorcycles. We're talking about pedal bikes.
Pedal bikes.
And it was distinct areas where you would do so, as opposed to you don't see people riding pedal bikes up 7 Mile in the street. You just don't do that. So why put lanes there?
Why not? They have to be. We got to protect your even in the hood.
It's already difficult enough to drive the car up 7 Mile with the traffic the way it is. Who in their right mind? I've seen people ride bikes up 7 Mile. On the sidewalk.
You gotta protect your bike riders because with gas being like almost $4, some people is going to convert back to their bikes. I mean, why not? What if this person owned cars and all that? They just wanted to bike. Should they have a safe lane to where, you know, and should they be
I just
be
said
protected?
yesterday I had to give me a bike. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I understand the
Biking is
purpose
in.
for them, but, you know, it just seems like a nuisance in certain areas. Just no different than the speed bumps. You know, imagine going up, you know, Gratiot. You got a speed bump every quarter mile and shit.
Yeah, that should have fucked some shit up, though. You have to, you know, you got to slow it down, I guess. Shit, if you speed, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. This is, like I said, we in a traffic experiment right now. We have to probably report on that shit next year on how really did it work? Did it slow down the traffic as far as the crashes and the misuse of what the vehicle homicides and all that's going down? Whatever. But
I always wonder, man, like with the you know, I understand there's different speed limits in different areas of the world, right? But if the majority of, you know, in city limits, from what I see on the top streets, you know, 50, 60 miles an hour at most. You know what I mean? On the freeway, 70, 80 miles an hour at most. And from where I've seen, besides the Autobahn, you over there in Germany, you know what I mean? So why make a car that goes 200 miles an hour? If the speed limit nowhere is over 100 miles.
I think you have to look at that movie Ford versus Ferrari. You know what I'm saying? They were saying why some of that. Why do you make these cars that fast? Because they saying, God damn it, the people pay for it. And so if I can get the congressman to look the other way, because they the ones that can remember. Let's take a flashback, man, Mark, with the Impalas, the 95s.
And I'm a fan of fast car. I love.
But what was the 95 Impalas doing to the cops in Detroit?
Dusting them.
Remember the Typhoons? I don't know if you remember the Typhoon trucks. They was dusting cops and they was flipping over. They was so fast. But like I said, in Detroit, to me, as growing up as a kid, it's always been automotive experiments. That's just us. That's what we live in. They give the fast cars. And after that, in Detroit and so on, they put the governor or whatever on the engines. Now the Impala is like a family car. Right? It has a governor on the engine. You cannot use it as a what do you call these? A racing type car.
A muscle car.
Racing, but they also got like the Hellcats. You got to pay the now, because the Impala back in the day, it was just a regular car. You can get it. It was like regular price. Now to get these type of muscle cars, you got to pay 60 and up or 50 and up.
Mm-hmm.
And even then, it's only limited edition, because Hellcats is limited edition. That's some experiment shit, people. How is it going to do in these urban areas? And notice that they pinned that the Hellcats and the Chargers now is pinned with the people of color or the black people. They get the Hellcats. And look what they doing in Chicago and Detroit and Philly and in Miami. Look what they doing with the Hellcats or the Challengers or the Chargers. Or
the Durangos.
The souped up Durango. That was in my neighborhood I reported on. The Durango that smashed into the intro vest. Lost control. Racing down Greenfield. Greenfield Road is, to my Detroiters, it's a racing haven. Auto drive is too, east to west. For real.
And then, you know, the thing about Auto Drive. It's a predominantly nice looking neighborhood.
But
Man.
how do a wine?
But the streets, yeah, the way they curve, almost racetrack-ish is real.
You'll get a motherfucker from Europe like, oh shit. In the Ferrari, east to west, I'm back. And it goes on. They've been doing this shit since I was a kid up on Auto Drive. Greenfield, grass shit. They've been racing up Woodward. They said, fuck it. They race so much up Woodward, even the white people, let's make it to Dream Cruise. It was official in the 90s. But let's switch the notes, man. The Taliban. We back on the Taliban. Last video, man. The Taliban was left with so much artillery, brand new. This shit is in the plastic. Man, Mark. And you think we lying? We got the video. This shit was in brand new crates. Store shit. And they opening up that shit like they at Toys R Us. Like, nigga, we got brand new ARs for you niggas, man. What up? Let's look at this shit, Joe.
We're the first foreign journalists to see the latest army base the Taliban have captured in the province. And they want to show us the treasure trove of military riches they've seized with it. Many of these boxes supplied by the Americans hadn't even been opened before the Taliban got hold of them.
RPG. Whoa.
Can anyone believe that the Taliban wants peace when you've got all these weapons now?
Most of the time we don't rely on all of this, we just rely on Allah. But it does help us a lot, and it's given us a lot of new weapons we can use in battle. Of course we want peace. All people want peace here, but the government doesn't want peace with us.
The Taliban say they seized about 900 guns, 30 Humvees, and 20 army pickup trucks.
Taliban can be seen with vehicles used by the Herat police. Another video from the Herat province shows the Taliban brandishing guns. Most of the weapons have been seized by the Afghan forces, who at many places surrendered without a fight. They left behind a massive arms cache at the Kabul airport. Firearms and ammunition were seen lying in a parking lot. And all this is now in the hands of the Taliban. Apart from this, they have been seizing weapons from civilians. The Taliban said that civilians no longer need weapons for personal protection. To understand the scale of this crisis, you will have to know what weapons are likely in the hands of the Taliban. Now, here's a list of the weapons US dispatched to Afghanistan in recent years. That is 7,000 machine guns, 4,700 Humvees, 20,000 grenades, 200 aircraft. Washington has tried to downplay the threat, saying that the Pentagon had removed huge amounts of its own equipment from Afghanistan. But experts caution that the arms seizure will only embolden the Taliban. According to reports, Taliban is now in control of howitzers and Afghan Air Force assets. So what is the United States planning to do? There are fears that the very weapons the United States supplied will be used against it, and they could also land in hands of other terror groups now. We on a
rate.
Yeah, man. See, this
they
is
got
why
it
we
broke down in there. They got 200 tanks. They got 400 aircraft.
That's why we come with the international news.
Grenades.
CNN ain't breaking it down like that. MSN ain't breaking it down how much they got. They know exactly. I ain't gonna say exact, but they know damn near how much
But
they
see,
got.
over here, right? The report was, I was seeing how they said they left them over there with a bunch of faulty bullets and faulty ammunition and defected. No, this
we
shit
just
is
showed
brand new
you
out the box.
We just showed you. They
Keep pulling
opening
the
up
bullets out.
crates out the plastic. Out the plastic, they got like look, man, I got the new Emperor G.
He opened the box. RPG.
We look like we in Detroit, or Chicago, or Philly. Like, look, man, I got the new shit. I got the new fold up, baby, AK with the drum on it. Left in the middle of the hood. Come on now,
man. Listen, this shit was done on purpose, man. They knew that they was about to arm these
yeah, that shit
people,
was
so,
just
like,
left there, right? They just opened my and this shit don't have no lock or nothing. I don't say about the lock; they can shoot that shit off. But my man just opened this shit, a brand new shit with plastic on it. Come on, y'all. Where you seeing this shit at? Nobody else showing y'all this but us. It's a hidden hand behind it, man, Mark. And to me, my opinion of the hidden hand that's behind it is, yeah, they left this motherfuckers to top-notch shit because the surrounding countries, they fearing it. They flying around with Apaches
and then you know how the news does, right? Like, they reporting it, the shit that they that was found or whatnot. Like it's probably whole lot more there than they report.
Oh yeah, all kind
long
of
story
shit.
short,
Money, probably everything.
You know what I mean? Just and way more ammunition and guns. And
what was that movie with Ice Cube? When it was in
the Desert Storm,
right?
They did
and they was going to hit the lick. They like, man, fuck this shit, man. We can go on our own little paramilitary missions, and go get these bags of gold. Right? And this is real shit. Don't think they ain't in these countries and they don't got licks or heist that they pulling off. Come on now, yo. Just the hidden hand, not just heist. The hidden hand is shit. We can arm the Taliban and they can control it for us. Because they work for who? Us. What was some of the top Taliban people, man, when we capture them? Where did they take them to? They took them to Guantanamo Bay. And once the United States get your ass for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years, they gonna indoctrinate you, yo. I ain't gonna say all of them might not listen, but most of them who they're releasing, they might release them with that new shit, man, Mark, to where they implanting you like, nigga, if you don't listen, we got the shit in you. How you know some of these people ain't implanted, allegedly? How you gonna run off? Because if you do run off, they had movies on the new Suicide Squad. If you run off on the government, your head get blew off. And that's on the Suicide Squad, the new one. So how you think they got these terrorists under control, Mark? Think they just letting them go out of Guantanamo Bay, whatever, Cuba? And they don't got no type of mark on them? This is the mark of the beast. They showing you in Suicide Squad how they do their terrorists. How they do their squads. Watch that. But this is Judo Woke Ace, man. I ain't trying to, scare y'all and say, well, damn, I never really looked at it like that. And who's running?
The thing about it is, man, a lot of things is going on. People need to understand so they can look at it. A lot of shit is being overlooked because it's not being made available to see.
Look, Mark,
that's the reason why people don't believe shit like it's going on.
They don't
because it's not enough of the real shit being exposed. Everybody been so used to the wool being pulled over their eyes, and they believe
exposed,
the wool.
But you're not looking at it from how you know what I'm saying. They putting it out. Because the Suicide Squad is ran by a government agent. And that's how the comic book is. The lady, she's running it. And she has a bunch of misfits or whatever. And she implants them. And she's one trying to run away. At the beginning of the movie. And his head blow off. She like, man, we got to kill our agent. And he like, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. She like, man, just blow his head up. So imagine how they doing the terrorists. They already got the COVID pass and all that ready, yo. They already can track you. They just don't got it to where they can put it out to the people and get accepted right now. So they gonna use it on their convicts or whatever. They little paramilitary people, whatever, man. So, man, Mark, man. That's about it.
Oh, every week, man, you come with some more shit, man. You and Mizzle, man. Mizzle will be back next week, though.
Right, man. We had to break down, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of that Suicide Squad and relate that to the terrorists because that's what they dealing with. They dealing with the terrorists, the assassins. So how else you gonna mark your assassins to do your job? Don't think they got some of this talent. They've been over there for 20 years. Think they ain't marked some of their top dogs? And we paying you? Get your people in order, but he ain't gonna tell his people he marked. I'm marked. I gotta do the job. I gotta get y'all to flip. This is real shit, people. Judah breaking it down, but that's about it, man. Mark, you got anything to say?
No, man. Just shout out to everybody that's tuned in on both platforms, Facebook, YouTube. We're really all three because we're streaming live on 7mileradio.com. YouTube, the 7 Mile Radio page, and the Facebook page. We got to make a new Facebook page, man. That name is we can't get our page verified with the error in his name on our Facebook page. since the page was hacked. So now we got to go ahead and make a new page. This is not a problem. We just got to get everybody following the Facebook page to go and follow the new Facebook page when we make it. So go ahead and keep your eyes peeled for that one. But yeah, shout out to everybody. So we actually got more comments and interaction on YouTube this week than we got on Facebook. That's interesting.
Right.
Yeah, so shout out to everybody on YouTube, man, tuning in. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, no matter which one you on, whether it be YouTube, Facebook, or the website. Yeah, so we can keep up with everybody. Y'all can keep up with us. What you got to say before we out of here, Judah?
We'll be back next week. Hopefully, shit. We got Biden right now that got caught up on the call.
We had a special guest for next week, didn't we?
Yeah, we got a special guest. Next week we got a surprise special guest, yo. Conscious rapper right now, man, or conscious speaker. The brother is deep, man. And we gonna come with some shit next week, man. He's from Detroit, so we're gonna have him towards the second half of the show. So you already know, expect that, and also expect more news, whatever pop.
Never know what's gonna pop up.
I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, they got Biden caught up on the call right now to the Afghan president, saying keep it cool while you know what I'm saying, this shit go down. Just say it's cool. And as we know it right now, the Afghan president fled with a bunch of money and even fucking with the United States. He said, man, fuck this. I'm fleeing, man. I don't got time to be fucking with y'all. You know what I'm saying? So it's getting deep, man. Like I said before we close, 2 FDA officials resigned over the booster. The EU Health, which is equivalent to the CDC, breaks with the Biden booster. They said people shouldn't have the booster. So to me, the wheels is slowly coming off. The wheels are slowly coming off. You got nurses coming out. You got all kind of shit coming out. So there's only so much we can say, man. You know what I'm saying? You got these censored people, man. So we'll be back next week, man. I'm Judah Woke Ace. I got Mark
D. What's happening?
Man, Mark D. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see you next week. Peace.